Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, February 25th, 2021, and we are here for a work session. As always, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tim, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tim. We have a few announcements today. On Monday, March 1st, 2021, at 11 a.m., myself and the entire town board will join together with representatives from Peconic Bay Medical Center and members of our faith community at Town Hall to declare the first Monday of every March as COVID-19 Victims and Survivor Memorial Day. Monday's celebration will include the placement of a flowering memorial tree, and we will be unveiling a monument that will serve as a permanent tribute and reminder to honor those who have lost their lives and to acknowledge the individuals and families who continue to suffer from the lasting impacts of the COVID-19 virus. Councilman Ken Rothwell has been working diligently on this effort all week, putting all the pieces together in what will undoubtedly be a memorial that's fitting and a tribute to those victims. Councilman Ken Rothwell has been, members of the public are invited to attend this event. It will be in front of Town Hall, and we must ensure that there will be social distancing, wear your mask. Next, as you likely know by now, the distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine is underway across the United States and here in New York. Residents may call 833-697-4829 or visit www.covidnineteen vaccine.health.ny.gov for vaccine availability and the location. I know that the website is very long, but you can also locate it on our town's website. In addition, members of our senior community may call the Riverhead Senior Assistance Hotline at 631-727-3200, extension 653 on Tuesdays and Thursdays between the hours of 9:30 and 12:30 for assistance with questions regarding senior transportation, how to register for vaccines, referral for utility bill assistance, and any other questions. In addition, my office, together with the Senior Center, is finalizing details on a plan to assist seniors with access online access, and we should be rolling out that program this Friday. Okay, moving on forward, our first discussion for item today is Councilman Rothwell. I believe you're going to introduce the first discussion item.
Could I just make one comment before? I just want to thank Island Harvest for Tuesday's food distribution, and the town board as well, and the Chamber of Commerce. All the volunteers came, made it a flawless event. 35-pound boxes were distributed, and a lot of hungry people were fed, so thank you to the town board. Thank you again to Island Harvest. Thank you for all the volunteers from the Chamber of Commerce. It was a great event.
Thank you for setting that up, Frank. We really appreciate that, and so does our community. Very nice job.
Great event.
Yes, and we all were there, and it was enlightening to see that it was very, very successful, and the amount of volunteers we had, and that was a tremendous amount of food.
Yeah.
You're also on the board of the Island Harvest, and thank you for making this happen.
It couldn't have worked out without all of you, because everybody was making phone calls at the last minute because the line was getting short, but with all your help and the town board and Island Harvest, of course, it was a successful event.
Yes, I want to say great work, Frank, and it was a great community event. I'm seeing and hearing from a lot of people that were so pleased to have gotten food from this. Also, I want to mention that the event that's going to be, I think it's very good that we are holding the event on Monday, because our nation has just passed a sad and unfathomable number of people that we have lost due to COVID. So I think it's appropriate and for us to honor the memory of those people, and also gives us hope to have discussion of the people that have survived the virus and all around a great event, and I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank, for letting us be a part of the event. But Island
Yes.
Harvest, that was really, it was a
And the
great
weather
event.
cooperated.
Yes, that was
Which is very critical.
It was beautiful. Island Harvest comes through for us again and again.
Yeah, good organization,
Yeah.
really. Well done. Thank you again for the town board support.
Thank you, Ray. All right, Councilman Rothwell, you're presenting, a discussion on pedal share?
Yes, so, thank you Supervisor. Sometime after I joined the town board, I was contacted by a company called Pedal Share. They had interacted with the town a few years ago with a plan to bring their business here to Riverhead. Sadly, with the events of COVID-19 arriving, the project really never had an opportunity to take flight. And the town of Riverhead originally engaged in a conversation with a company, just for references, with Zagster, whom was promoted by the county of Suffolk as a means of a recreational transportation throughout the many towns and villages here in the county. The company Zagster also didn't get a chance to develop, and the company eventually dissolved. And so Pedal Share has kind of stepped up. They had an opportunity to speak. We spoke to Pedal Share, and I believe the company's taken the ideas of Zagster, but brought the bike sharing concept to a much higher level and better quality of service. And they've become quite successful in the surrounding towns and villages around us. So today we are joined by Christopher Diamond, who's the director of Pedal Share, to present his company's concept and how it can benefit our community. So thank you, Mr. Diamond.
Thank you,
Christopher?
Councilman Rothwell, appreciate it.
Okay, hold on 1 second, we have to adjust the voice.
Yep.
They're working on it in the back. Okay, can we see now?
Yep, how's that, is that?
A lot better, thank you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you, Councilman Rothwell and the board for taking the time to, I say, meet with us, virtually. Just a little bit background, similar to what Councilman Rothwell had mentioned, just some background on us. We started a bike share program in Southampton Village in 2018. We ran a small program, and from there expanded in 2019 to West Hampton and Quogue, and then continued our program in 2020 in Southampton. We didn't we didn't continue the program West Hampton and Quogue in 2020 due to COVID, and also I believe they were doing some sewage district plans and some work in the main street in West Hampton, so we kind of held back on West Hampton Quogue for last year, but plan to continue with them going forward. Last year, we also expanded, as the councilman mentioned, into Suffolk County. We took over the countywide program and expanded our program into the villages of Patchogue, Village of Babylon, and Southampton Town in Hampton Bays specifically. And so I know there had been talks with Riverhead, but we wanted to pick that up, and Councilman Rothwell has been very great working with us, and so I'll get into the PowerPoint that we have, but that's just a little bit of background on us, and I'll kind of get more into the program with the PowerPoint. Can we get that up? Are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yeah, they just have to expand it.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. So you can go to the next slide. This is just the cover page. All right, so this is just basically, this slide is showing, this is the app that we utilize for our bike share program. What happens is a user will walk up to a station, there will be bikes at each station, and they'll be able to download our app. Our app is called Bloom. Users can download the app from the App Store and the Google Play Store, and then from there they can sign up to use our program. From there, they'll be able to see exactly where bikes are, what the rate plans are, basically how many bikes are at each station, and what all the information needed to rent a bike within the program is all in that app. You can do the next slide. So we started our program, like I said, with the county in last year. We actually launched in September of 2020 with the program. Their program had only operated for about a month and a half in Suffolk County during the 2019 year. But because of whatever reason, the company, the contractor that the county had went out of business. So in the amount of time that they dissolved the company and we were able to pick up the contract, we were able to get it going in for the last 2 months of the year. Our service year runs from May 1st to November 1st. So we'll have bikes out between those times. Sometimes, like last year, for instance, we kept bikes out until November 15th, if the weather permitted. It was very nice then, so we kept them out until the 15th last year. But typically, our service runs May 1st to November 1st, and we take the bikes in and store them so they're not sitting there all winter long. Next slide. Currently, we have 1,293 users in our program. We have 195 bikes, 45 stations. It'll be 45 as of this year. It actually may even be more than that, just as we add on new municipalities. And with that, 290 docks. Now, a dock is within a station. Each station has a multiple number of docks, and that's for the bike to actually slide into at the station. And we've had over 2,000 rentals in our program to date. Next slide. We operate on a simple pricing plan of $4 an hour, $35 a day, at $59 for an annual membership, which does unlimited 1-hour rides. After you can rent as many times a day as long as for free, as long as the rides are under an hour. After the initial hour, you are charged the hourly rate with the annual membership. However, you can, as long as you bring a bike back to a station within the hour, you can then re-rent another bike and your clock starts all over again. So that's for the annual membership. Next slide. This is just a comparison pricing to City Bike. Everybody is familiar with City Bike, and just to show what our pricing is compared to City Bike. We try to keep it simple. There's no minutes that you have to really worry about aside from the 1 hour. There's no charge for incremental minutes as you're renting. So what this is just showing the different pricing models of a similar type system. As you can see in City Bike, it's $169 a year for an unlimited 45-minute ride. So we think we have a good pricing model for our program. Next slide. Bike share, why do we want, why is this a good fit for municipalities? Really, it's mobility as a service. They're trying to bring alternative modes of transportation to the municipalities, specifically on Long Island, and really jumping into that push for first and last mile transportation, commuting, recreation, those types of things. But we also are, not only are we providing the bike share program for rentals, but we're also providing it, we do a lot with bicycle safety and promoting the local laws of bicycling. So what we're, trying to really bring to light what some of these laws within the municipality are. A lot of people may not know that you can't ride a bike down Main Street or things like that. And so we try to really do a lot with that. And promote safe riding. Obviously, it's great if people are riding bikes, but we want them to do it safely. Also, it's fun, it's healthy, it's a good way for people to get out and do something and be fit, healthy, and it's a great service from that aspect, and it's eco-friendly. So those are the main points of bike share and what it can bring to the community. Next slide. This is just a slide showing basically how the app works. These are some pictures of the app. You'll download the app, you'll find a station, find a bike, walk up to the bike, scan it with your phone, and then you can, what it does is it actually uses Bluetooth. Once you scan the QR code on the bike, it will unlock the lock on the bike, and then you can ride the bike for as long as you'd like. At the end of your ride, you're gonna bring the bike back to the station and then lock it. So you'll actually physically lock the bike, the lock on the back of the bike once it's in the station. The stations are there really as a visual for the user, as well as to keep the bikes organized. The reason for that is it's all the technology really is in the back end of the application. So we're actually geofencing the area, and a geofence is basically it's an invisible fence around a certain area for the technology of the app. We can, if a station is full and there's no more docks, you can actually still put a bike in that area because of the geofence. It will allow you to lock the bike there. If you're not within the geofence, you will have to, you can't lock a bike unless it's within that geofence. Next slide. These are a couple photos of our stations. We have two different types of stations. We have a permanent station, which is what you see at the top left of your screen. That photo is, those stations are there. They stay there all year long, even during the time that our system is not running. The bikes do come out, but the station does stay. At the bottom left of your screen there are movable stations. They're a lot less, they're a lot more small. They're a lot smaller. They're a lot easier to move around. So those we can place and move around at will. And so the nice thing about that is we can put them in places if we have to, if we decide that we want to move them from one area to another within a certain area, we can actually pick it up, move it. They don't require any type of utilities, and we can adjust the number of docks at each station. They also have the signage for user instructions and also the sponsor of the system. Next slide. These are just some community benefits, some more community benefits, transportation alternative, local law education, last mile transportation. We do this at zero cost to the taxpayer. We do not request any funding from the municipality at all to provide the service. It's environmentally friendly, and there's no permanent infrastructure. Like I said, each station does not require any utilities. It's strictly there as a place to keep the bikes organized and a visual cue for the user. Next slide. This is system capabilities. That's a sample of one of our signage that we have. As you can see, there's the pricing is on there, the steps to rent a bike, as well as the laws for that particular area. This one happens to be Southampton Village, so it just tells the users where they can and cannot ride a bike. But we also provide to the municipality some of the data that we collect. That data would be rental, where users are renting bikes, how many users we're getting, and what the patterns are for usage. And we provide all of that to the municipality. We can also provide geo-targeted advertising, and that, I use that not necessarily as a revenue thing, but with that, we can also provide geo-targeted pop-up alerts and information for a user within a municipality. And again, a geo-targeted would be specifically actually going within the app and outlining an area that we would like an alert to pop up when a user enters that area. So we can do that within the app as well. We do all the bike redistribution ourselves. So we're doing that on a daily or as needed basis. And with COVID, what we've been doing is wiping down all the bikes, handlebars, seats, any area where a user may be touching, we're wiping the bikes down, sanitizing. And then also with the Suffolk County program, they are providing us with sanitizing stations for each station, which basically is a pedestal with the New York State Clean hand sanitizing solution at each station. Fast build out, we can do it pretty quickly. We could have the town of Riverhead included in our program beginning of this year. That's, we could, at the beginning of our season, May 1st, we can have that set up. And then we do also the maintenance within our own program. So if there's any issues, we do the customer service. Users can contact us. We handle all of that. The municipality doesn't have to do really much of anything in regards to that. One thing that we do work with the municipality is just promoting the program. So trying to get people to utilize it as a way for commuting, first, last mile transportation, those types of things. And then also we can scale it. So we can start out with a small number of stations, and as we see users riding and what the patterns are, we can add more stations as we see fit. There's no set a number of stations that we can have in one municipality. Next slide. And so this is just going through the end. Obviously our goal is to expand through a system throughout Long Island and provide that alternative transportation solution. This will be the end of the slide, but I'll just continue on too. You can go to the next slide. I think it's just our contact information. Yeah. So since this year, we've actually been speaking with other municipalities as well. The town of Huntington, town of Babylon, village of Lindenhurst, village of Amityville, and also the village of Sag Harbor, all plan to join the program. We are speaking also with the village of Port Jeff about bringing their program, or bringing our program to their municipality as well. So we're really looking to expand the program very quickly. And that's about the basis of what I have about our program. If you guys, I'm sure, have some questions, happy to answer.
So I could just make a few comments, Mr. Diamond. Just so the, members of the board know and the supervisor. So initially the concept of this was brought to the Alternative Transportation Committee. And so we did have a discussion on it. We discussed a few items, which I'll address in a moment, but in addition, some members that on the committee itself that were not able to attend, we've asked them to watch this presentation tonight, this afternoon, as well as it's recorded for 22, and they'll continue to follow up with us with ideas, concerns, but the number one was the safety, so safety is our top priority. And just to address some of the basic questions, and I'll yield the floor, but helmets are generally provided by the user, so that's one thing, was about helmets and safety. But as he mentioned about, so to speak, advertising through the app can tell you, so if you come out here in your local, where you can go, perhaps, so there may be stores within our area, within around it, that you can purchase a helmet if you don't have one yourself. And then what I like that is that we can continuously make changes to the bike racks and move around, so we would ask the ongoing observance of the Alternative Transportation Committee just on how it's developing and how it's expanding to get their continuing insight. But like the Geo app, I believe, so we're not allowed to bring bikes on Main Street, but so this would really notify you when you're in a zone where you're not supposed to be. Is that correct, right? So kind of.
Yes, so what we can do with that is, it goes along with the geo advertising, and basically what it is we can actually, within the app, we go in and we can actually take Main Street and actually mark it out within the app. And as a user enters, once they enter that boundary, an alert would pop up and say, please disembark your bike, you must walk it through here, and that type of thing. We can do those types of alerts for the user. It's also the same system in which we would do alerts for promoting other bike stores within the municipality, so we can say, hey, check out the local bike shop, pick up a helmet, those types of things. As you mentioned, we can't provide helmets for the user, but they are within the app. The user is told that they should be wearing a helmet, and so they're taking that risk if they do not. But we always encourage them to wear a helmet.
And so, obviously, we want to encourage, access to Main Street, so the Alternative Transportation Committee was gonna look at, perhaps alternative routes, maybe by the Peconic Bay waterfront, because we want people to come down, we want them to utilize the restaurants and the storefronts and everything on Main Street, but maybe we'll provide a more safe, designated route. We talked about locations, very excited, everyone seemed to be about having this up also at like Veterans Memorial Park, for example. There for $4 an hour, so those that are not aware, there's a 9-mile loop that goes around Veterans Memorial Park, it's awesome. But sometimes may be a challenge for us to load up our bikes and put them in the car and get everybody in there and off we go. So, you certainly can make that 9-mile loop within an hour, but I like also the idea that, for the yearly membership, it just seemed to be more allowing, like families to kind of go up there and just on a daily basis, not have to put everything, just bring your bike helmet with you and off you go. But I mentioned to the supervisor about promoting like Riverhead more as a destination, a tourism location where guests from the city, visitors could come out and maybe if they're up at Railroad Plaza, to bring them down and get them down into, to the Peconic Front, to the streets and so forth. Maybe they're visiting, restaurants and going to the Atlantis Aquarium, things like that, so it allows somebody to come out, so they should bring their helmet with you and off they're visiting, downtown Riverhead. I like the fees.
Councilman Rothwell, if you don't mind, if I could just add something to that.
Yep.
I just wanted to go over actually what those locations were for the, for the audience there, that we were looking at. Just name them. So we had, like you mentioned, Veterans Memorial Park. We were looking at a location near the Long Island Railroad in Riverhead. We also had the River and Roots Community Garden as one of the locations, the Peconic Riverfront Park. I believe there was one at the Riverhead Town Hall for the 5 locations that we had. And those are all fluid. We can change those and add to those as the board sees fit or as the committee sees fit.
And I think, when you identify locations, we need to make sure that we include engineering and our CDA director, because I think they'll give you a better understanding of the most, visible and interesting locations. So, Councilman Rothwell, can you, if we're gonna move forward on this, make sure that, Dawn Thomas, our CDA director, is involved in our engineer.
Absolutely.
To make sure that if there's gonna be any building or any digging, that we have a stabilized locations and access and roads and whatever it is, that's their expertise.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'd like to jump in on a couple of things. I want to start by saying that we did talk about this like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I loved it then, and I love it now, and I'm so glad to see it back on the table for us to talk about. We liked the idea pre-COVID, but after we've gone through COVID, I think that more and more people want to be outside and doing outdoor activities, just because we're somewhat limited on indoor activities. And I know about the bike share program from other cities. I was in Boulder last year for a few days and I used the bikes. It's very cool. They had them on, lots of different corners in Boulder. I do think, just like you brought up, involving community development, I'd also like recreation to be involved in this. I think recreation would be helpful. We have a recreation advisory and we do have our recreation department representatives here today. I think they should also be brought to the table in the discussion. And yes, I think we need to be, I like some of the locations that you mentioned. I do think we have to be very strategic in our locations, especially, figuring out how many bikes we get. Of course, it would be perfect to have bikes. We had talked about it last time out at Veterans Park, because that is such a used area. My own kids go throw the bikes in the car and go up there all the time, and it would certainly be easier, as Ken stated, to have the bikes there. And also in the downtown area, I know you're saying they can't be on Main Street, but now that you have people living in the downtown area, a lot of people nowadays don't want to have a car, especially if they're living downtown. Hopefully at some point we get a grocery store in that downtown area. But I think, having the bikes in the downtown area, they'll be used a lot too. Of course, if you put one at town hall, we can ride out and get lunch,
There
right?
you go. I like the idea that the yearly membership, I thought that was a great aspect, because exactly people that are living down there, they're not being charged every hour. It's like you can go run your errand, bring the bike back, and I thought that was a really good aspect of it.
And very importantly, it's also, it addresses the health component. People can, the way of exercising and going out to see scenery and stopping off for lunch and getting back on the bike and running an errand somewhere. So there's a great health advantages.
I could use the exercise.
I think
I'll
this
be
is,
really-
I think this is a win-win, and, you know, I'd be all interested to hear from people in the community, if people wanna reach out to us and make suggestions for areas where they think the bike should go within our town. You know, sometimes they may bring up locations that we hadn't thought of, so I would ask for that as well. Thank you, this is great.
Yeah, and with that too, we can, like I said, we can add stations at any time with your input, you know? So if, as users, as people are using it more and they realize that they think that there may be a good fit for a station, we can definitely work with you on that and figure out how we can expand the program within the municipality as well, so.
And there's not a set number of bikes at different locations. For example, one location you may only wanna have a smaller amount of bikes, correct?
Yeah, so we take the peak usage and the peak stations, and we actually use that to decide how many bikes should be at each station. You know, if there's certain stations maybe that are less utilized, we'll only keep a few bikes there, and really make sure that at peak times we have bikes at the, you know, the higher used stations. We were talking about starting the station this year, or we are able to commit this year, 25 bikes for the Riverhead State program. So we do try to allocate enough so that there's, you know, enough bikes at each station. And then we also leave empty spaces at each station, so as a user can come in, there is a place for them to actually put a bike. We don't fill the station right from the start, so.
So the stations can be changed. Let's say we have one area that ends up no one uses it, you know, we miscalculated on that, but another area, there aren't enough bikes ever, so could that be changed up? Or-
Yep, yeah, it's very simple to change. It's we can do it technologically in a matter of minutes. Otherwise, it's just a matter of taking the station and physically moving it.
Thank you.
Yes, Chris, and that's great to hear that, you mentioned earlier that you can adopt the locations, and that was, very important. Because your initial program, if it rolls out, you know, you have to adopt with
Right,
the,
yeah.
and you might have to adopt according to seasons. You know, maybe the riverfront is not as important as maybe, a trail, in the fall, when people wanna see the foliage, and, so it's great that you mentioned, and Catherine also, brought it up, that, you know, it is an adoptable plan. Anyone have any more comments? Tim?
No, thanks.
No?
Does the recreation department want to comment at all on it while we're here?
We're for this program,
You wanna come up to the mic, please? All right, good morning.
Just while you're in the room, it'd be great.
Yeah, just say hello to us. And it's great, I think.
Speaking of recreation,
No, we, as a whole, we were just discussing it on the way here, we wanted to get here for this presentation. It's a great thing for the town. It was introduced a few years ago, I believe, and it just never came to fruition, but it looks like if we can get this off the ground, it'd be great. Especially for that trail that you're talking about. That is one of the most popular items we have in the town now, is that 9-mile trail.
Awesome.
You go down there on the weekend, it's very, very popular, and I think the bikes are just gonna accentuate that, so we're on board with it. You know, whatever you need from us to assist, just call upon us, we're good.
Great.
people have actually talked about the traffic on the trails, the bike traffic, so, I mean, that, in a way, it's a good thing that they're
Yeah.
being used, but of course, something we have to figure out.
It was one of the first things that intrigued me, though, because from a family of 4, trying to put 4 bikes on cars, and then like we're using 2 cars and everything, and it would be great just to have them there.
Yeah, and you see it a lot more with unfortunately with COVID, you see a lot more families biking around and stuff like that, so
Exactly.
the timing is perfect. You know.
Awesome.
Great, thank you, Ray, and, thank you, Councilman, Rothwell, and thank you, Pedal Share, and if any member of the community wants to have any input, the office liaison is Ken Rothwell. You can send him, your recommendations, and he'll share them with the board. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving forward.
Can I just say thank you to the board for allowing us to present, and also thank you, Councilman Rothwell, for your due diligence and hard work in this. We've been working for a long time, and this really is coming together very quickly in the last couple of weeks, and I appreciate your hard work and the board as well for taking the time to meet with us. We look forward to working with you guys, and we're excited.
Great.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you and be
Thank you.
safe.
Be safe.
Okay, moving on forward, our next item up for discussion is our police chief, Hegemiller, who will be giving us a brief update on the Riverhead, LEAP program, Law Enforcement Advisory Panel. We're finally coming to the end,
Good morning.
working on that report.
Yes,
We've been consumed with it, but it's gonna be ready.
final stages,
Final stages,
home stretch.
All right.
We like home stretch.
We like home stretch.
yes.
Don't always get to home stretch in government.
No.
Okay, chief?
We are in the final stages of the LEAP plan, the police reform plan that the governor put out an executive order on. So the draft is basically written. I think it needs just to be filled in a little bit at this point, but that's really just filling the blanks. It's out to our committee for review. We have a meeting this afternoon at 2:30 Zoom meeting, so we'll be discussing it with the committee. And they'll have a chance to further review it over the weekend, through next week.
Excuse me, Chief, I need you to move closer to the mic.
Sure. I thought I was getting some echo anyway, so,
There is a little echo.
yeah. So our plan is to have it completed by the 2nd of March, which is Tuesday. And we're gonna give a range on that. We're gonna say the 2nd to the 9th of March to complete it. I think the latest it can be completed would be the 9th. Hopefully we'll have it done on the 2nd. At that time, once it's done, it's going out to the public. It'll be going out on a press release, it'll be on our website. We'll also have hard copies here and hard copies at headquarters, if people wanna pick it up that way. You're scheduled for a public hearing on it on the 16th of March at the town board meeting. And then once that, it'll stay open for a given period of time, comments, so people can comment on it. And then we should be adopting it anywhere during the week of March 29th, with the drop dead date of April 1st it has to be done on.
Oh my God.
It has to be at the governor's office by April 1st. Well, first it has to go to the controller's office, and simultaneously it has to go to the governor's office. And at one point, they have to approve it.
Right. So April 1st is a work session, so if we did it at 10 a.m., we could probably have that all done by the end of business
And we
on
need to
April
do that,
1st.
chief, beforehand, because we wanna make sure that if the controller or the governor's office reviews it and they say there's a component missing, we need to be able to adopt.
Right,
They will be cutting funding.
correct.
And it's just critical, and I refuse to wait to the end, the drop dead, and have a meeting to adopt something when it's due at the controllers, and, risk management is my expertise, and you plan, you gotta give yourself a little bit of
Right, that's
a
all-
leeway for any difficulties, and I think you would agree with that
Yeah,
approach,
no, we're
correct?
hoping to have it done, or to you guys by March 29th. There'll have to be a special board meeting to adopt it, and then we'll get it out right after that, so.
So let's schedule that special board meeting, Devin?
Well, and I think it's, we obviously will really get the word out about the, public hearing. It's one more opportunity for the public to weigh in on it and, bring up any comments and concerns, and that's always a good thing. We wanna hear from our community on this. At the end of the day, we want it to be something we all came up with together, right?
Yes, and that's a good point, and that's the effort that we did take. We did reach out to the entire community. We, put the survey online, we extended it, we had it on Facebook, we boosted on Facebook, it was at the library. We have a very diversified committee. It went to the clergy. Hard copies were delivered to Sister Margaret. So there was a huge effort, and from what I'm told, out in the East End, we had the most participants. And that's a good thing, and from looking at the stats recently, 85% of the public viewed the Riverhead Police Department as fair to excellent. And that's just a preliminary, and we have to go look at pinpoint other data, but we will be doing some analysis. We won't be sleeping this weekend, I think. We'll be doing some analysis, and we're gonna get it out. And again, those of you who participated, I wanna thank you. We are confident that we reached our entire community. It was out there, and whatever the results are, they are. There will be recommendations. The committee itself has been engaged, which is good, to see that the committee was engaged, and they have given us recommendations. And like Catherine said, it's good to have the community, and that's the purpose of the survey. And so if there's, anybody has any recommendations here, you know, I'm advising you now, you still have time, write to the, any suggestions, please write to the clerk. And I just also want to note that we had two listening tours. Unfortunately, not many people participated. We had one at 11 o'clock and one, I think, 5:30 to try to attract the people who worked. And unfortunately, there weren't that many individuals, but we did have it open, and I am confident that we completed our task the way that we had to do to reach the community.
Well, there were the listening tours, and it's unfortunate that not as many people came out, but that's why the public hearing is a good opportunity for anyone that missed the listening tour to come in. And one of the many things I'm proud about in Riverhead is that we have our own police department, and I think that's helpful for us because they are our neighbors, and we know them in the community, and I think that's also a point of communication.
Yes.
And we are ahead of the power curve on a lot of the items. So we handled it in a spreadsheet format where each item is a bullet. There's about 28, 29, 30 items that are covered. And as I say, we're an accredited agency, so we're already up to what the state wants us to do in a lot of areas. And we've covered every comment we've received, we've covered as far as a bullet item, so.
Yes,
It's all
and
there.
just to add to the public hearing, that is mandatory, it is part of the entire bill, the Reform Act. We were given guidance as to the process, and we are following the process, and the process was to have a public hearing, and that will, again, take place on March 16th, and we look forward to hearing from the public.
I have to say, I'm not surprised at the 85% of fair to excellence rate. Having inside information, if you will, of the police department, I think we've always been very fair. We've got a great group of men and women that run that department, work in that department. And I think our community gets a very fair shake out of our police department, especially in light of some of the things you see nationwide. That just doesn't exist here. Our mentality of our officers, that doesn't exist here. And I'm proud to say that for the town of Riverhead.
What kind of inside information are you talking about, Tim?
Personal knowledge.
Yeah, 30-plus years.
But I
He does
understand.
live here. So you know,
Not
people
information
forget,
and belief, it's personal
people
knowledge.
forget that we're also residents, you know?
Right.
And we should be able to participate.
But I understand from the surrounding departments that the program that you put together, the LEAP program, has been the best on the East End.
Oh,
I mean, so.
Yeah, we've been
Excellent
contacted
job.
by the other towns, and they have explained to us, actually told us that we are following in a superior fashion, and they asked if they could copy some of our efforts, and of course we said yes.
Yeah, the only draft out there so far is Southampton Town. They've had this for about a week or so, so we're right behind them.
Are we close with them or in line with some of their
Yeah,
things?
I think you're gonna see us being in line with basically every department in Suffolk County, I would say. So they're all gonna be very similar. I mean, there's really not too much you can change as far as the way you do law enforcement, so. I mean, there's a lot of state mandates that we have to follow.
Yeah, all police departments across the United States, they are certified, they are accredited, and you need to follow the process. And so you can't just go in and say, well, I'm gonna approach a certain incident in this manner. It has to all be clear through legislation. And if some of the recommendations that are gonna be put forward, we may just have to go to legislation.
Right. And yeah, one or two of the items do say pending New York State legislation, so I
Yes.
mean, things like that have to change, has to go through the state, so.
Yes. All right, great. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have our,
Emails.
watch your emails, everyone.
Hi, chief.
Next we have our Recreation Department, Director Ray Coyne, and Coyne, would you please come up? And I just wanna extend a thank you from us and the entire town board. Under COVID, you went to great extent to continue to keep the community involved. You created programs, you created online Zoom programs, and you took the lead, from all of Suffolk. And, you created a brochure, you engaged young children, you had movies outside with social distancing, you had adult programs, and, it's good to see a department head who, was faced with many challenges as we were, and, you know, the entire town board, you know, to come forward and be innovative, and I personally wanna thank you and all your staff for all the work that you've done.
Thank you very much, it's very nice.
And
Always
the
nice to
things
get
with
compliments.
COVID were, it was sort of a moving target,
Yeah,
changing
yeah,
day
all
to
over
day,
the
but,
place.
as we always said in teaching, you were good at monitoring and adjusting, so good work.
Yeah, yeah, well, I have a great team here. We have Ashley and Jordan here too. They're gonna help us out with this
Hi,
presentation,
Ashley.
but they're wonderful employees, all of them. Colleen, Liz, our youth bureau, they do a great job, so I'm blessed with that. But thank you very much for the compliment. So now we have our parks update. Every year, Jordan and his team will go around to all the parks. Believe it or not,
Bring in
we
the
have,
bag.
what's that?
I think we have that.
Bringing in.
I don't, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, I just emailed you over the presentation for your computers on your email, just in case you wanted to watch it, or. you have
Some
a
of them
copy?
might
Okay.
speak.
So, Ray, was this provided to us prior?
Yes, I sent that a while
Is it
ago.
online? Yes. Oh, okay, it is online also, okay. Perfect.
Ray, you have some of the rec advisory in the Zoom, do you wanna bring them in now, or you wanna bring them in near the end to say a few words?
Probably
or
at the
how do
end
you
is
wanna
probably
handle
better
it?
off. Probably
What?
at the end of the presentation
Okay.
would be good, because they have their input
Can
as well.
you send them a message and let them know?
No, they know, they're in the room. They're
Oh,
in the
okay.
audience. That's normal when you get the.
Still learning about Zoom things, thank you.
Yep, they're
Okay.
listening also. So you let us know, Ray, when, you know, you wanna bring them in.
Sure, okay.
Great, thank
okay.
you.
Like I said, that we go around every year, there's, believe it or not.
Right, we need the mic close to your mouth.
All right, how's that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
better.
Perfect.
Okay. There's 42 parks in Riverhead, believe it or not, and each park has its own unique element to it. That's what makes this town really, it's a great town. It's a great town to go, the parks are great. So we wanted to provide the town board with an update of the current state of the parks. There's a big hill to climb. It's been accumulating for years, and there's some parks that we really want to emphasize that are falling apart, and we just want to bring it to the town board. We do this every year. Unfortunately, last year we couldn't do it because of COVID. It was right around this time that we were about to present, and then COVID hit, so everything just went away. So now we're back for it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to just give you a quick slideshow and show you exactly the pictures of some of the pictures that we have of some of the parks. Ashley's just going to go over a quick synopsis of each picture, and then we'll go over all the parks in the report. I mean, we'll just do that quickly for you. You have it in front of you. You can read it. And then I color-coded that to tell you which parks are really in dire need, and then which parks can wait a little bit longer. So, okay, you ready?
Sorry, all the way down. Well, first before we show you how bad shape some of the parks are in, it's nothing against any of the departments that help us upkeep all the parks. It's just stuff from constant use and the weather that we can't really avoid. So we'll just go quickly through, because like Ray said, there are 42 parks, but we're not gonna go through all those. So the first two parks are our biggest. Veterans Park here is just showing the constant weather damage that we have to deal with and how we get a lot of rainouts. So you can go to the next, Chip. And there's no crying in baseball, but we do get a lot of unhappy customers when we cannot get the fields fixed in time because of all the rain that we experience, and then it's also very costly with the material. Some more Veterans Park and just potential areas that could be cleaned up and improved. And again, the bocce court could use a little bit more upkeep, and different areas of the park that could have more equipment and different facilities added. Go ahead, Chip. Here's just like a look at where we store our equipment and our materials, just in a basic Casone trailer. We could definitely use an upgrade there. A nice small playground that we have there, which we're looking to add to different parks in our area. And there's a former soccer field that we used to use, but a great site for big turf fields would be wonderful. And here's the overall landscape of Veterans Park and how much land we really do have that has a lot of potential for build-up. Here's different parks in our area that we are looking to kind of mimic, that they've done a lot of great improvements in their towns. This is Town of Smithtown, one of their newest parks, Flynn Park, with turf fields.
Just opened.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
That's
So,
cool.
just want to show you an example. Also, Town of Brookhaven, very similar. They have multiple turf fields, baseball fields, ball fields, just state-of-the-art equipment that brings a lot of visitors from all over the country.
And lights.
Yes. And an example of turf fields that we could have a layout similar to this at Veterans Park. That would bring in a lot to not only our residents, but tourists. We've been getting a lot of use out of all of our fields, especially due to COVID, so it'd be great to have more. Moving to Stotsky, here's just a look at some of the parking lots and paving projects that we have to send in every year and how they continuously need upkeep. And with lights in our parking lot at Stotsky and Vets, we could use for safety measures, and Vets is very dark, so that would be helpful. Those are just some more pictures of different picnic area that we have at Stotsky. That would be potential for a nice pavilion or extra playgrounds, just to make it a little bit more beautiful. This is our current playground area. If you saw at Vets, that small area had the pour and play surface. It's safer for children. A lot of our parks have wood chips at them, like Stotsky, where it needs a constant yearly replenishment, and it's very costly to the department. So if we could do a one overhaul of multiple playgrounds, it would benefit us in the future. Right now, we're experiencing a potential shutdown of one of our only multi-purpose fields because of all the overuse that we had. We need to shut down the field till about June, costing us money from renting it out, but also to PAL and Little League. Moving on to Police Officers Memorial Park, similar situation with the paving. The new playground we did just install, which is a great addition there because that park could use some upkeep. It does experience a lot of shade and rain, so it needs constant repairs. This is one of our best playgrounds in the area, Nadell Park. It's a beautiful playground with that same pour and play surface. This is a neighborhood park that's in fairly good condition, but it could use some upgrades and repairs. It's the same park there with the walking path, parking lot, and tennis courts. Another neighborhood park that could use some more upkeep. Horton Ave, home to the Big Stop the Violence basketball tournament, who brings tons of people to our area for a good cause. They have a great basketball court similar to this we would like to have at our different parks, such as Stotsky, where we have a lot of action there, but they could use a nice facility like that. And our East Creek docking facility, just an example of another thing that has yearly repairs that if we just did a once-over of the parking lot, that top right, the bluestone that we currently have needs to be filled in every year and fixed. The lower portion could show something that could last for more years and be more cost efficient. There's another neighborhood park that could just use some more updated equipment and park benches. A lot of ours from years past, they've lasted a lot of years, but now they're rusting over and becoming unsafe. Our community center, brand new playground, which is great. We've been wanting that for years, so that was a huge thing for us. The building, however, does need repairs, as well as the backyard area. And then moving on to our beaches, Reeves just got a beautiful beach bathroom. This is prior to the paving that's there, which looks great, thanks to our Buildings and Grounds Department. And just the 4x4 access, this is all really weather-related, but just the current state of it. South Jamesport Beach tennis courts, they will need to be repaired, which is part of a project that we're currently doing, but we do get high complaints about the status of that. And the boat launch facility, that's also something that is a big project that has to be considered, but it's very expensive to redo that ramp. Iron Pier, we're currently potentially have to remove or replace this playground due to the unsafeness of it if it continues to wear because of the location. So that's something that would definitely need an upgrade as soon as possible. And that probably is one of the beaches that faces the most storm damage. Wading River Beach as well, we have a nice new playground there. The swing sets could be replaced, and probably the bathrooms at some point. And the boat ramp, which is more, I would say, a kayak canoe launch at this point. The dredging we have to do yearly. It's costly and doesn't last that long. And then we have a few waterfront access points that all kind of face the same problems, paving issues just because of weather and flooding. Holst Landing, the same type of thing, crumbling rock and having to be replaced. Edwards Avenue, they have a lot of wash up as well, but they did the highway just repaved that lot, so it does look nice there. And Roanoke Avenue, becoming more of a beach-like access point, they could use as well 4x4 repairs. And then Ray's gonna get into his part. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just wanted to make a couple of comments on some of the stuff that you brought up. I'll be really quick. Bayberry Park, that was where we put that playground that had been in storage, right?
Correct.
And that's great. That was a playground that we didn't have to purchase. We had it.
That was the one where
Right.
we got a discount from
Yeah.
20,000 to like 5,000.
And that was great because able to save the town money there.
It was also a park that, wasn't easily doable. You had to go make sure that the safety regulations were in place.
Yes.
Yeah, you had to go and legally address some of the, how long did it sit in storage? For 5 years or so?
A little longer than that, 7, 8
Longer
years.
than that, yeah.
Years it had been
So
in storage.
it was an effort, it wasn't just purchasing and installing, it was an effort that you had it, it was in storage for
Right.
many
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
and
for
then you
legal
had to-
reasons, we had to keep it in storage because we legally didn't pay for it yet. We couldn't
Right.
we couldn't track down the company that illegally
Uh-huh,
delivered it
yes.
to us, and so it was an ordeal.
Well, they sent it to us by accident,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we still had to pay something for it. It sat for 10 years, but then between rec and engineering helped us out by making
Engineering did
sure
a
all the
great
parts
job
were there.
inventorying the
Anyway, that was a
playground.
that was a win-win. On I don't wanna delay everybody, so I'm gonna try to be quick. On Osborne Avenue, where they have the Stop the Violence, of course, we know that's a huge popular event in Riverhead. Just a couple things to bring up. I know that at some point, they're always looking for a better scoreboard there.
They just got a scoreboard. Don't let them complain to you.
I know, just letting you know. Also, at some point, I hope we can figure out something with parking, cause anyone who passes.
That's big down there. I mean,
Anyone who passes by there, it's really kinda dangerous when
even if we
the-
put in a gravel, like a gravel type parking lot, just something to park there, because everybody parks on the streets down there.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a
And then
very
they're walking
popular court
across,
now.
you can't even get by. The Two Bears, they really reached out to us as a community and
Right.
as a community organization because they had concerns about all that shrubbery that was a safety issue there, and that was something that we addressed.
Yeah.
But that is an example of when the community reaches out to us and we're able to
Correct.
get something done and respond to them. Just like Reeves, that was a long project,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
that's,
we finally have a new bathroom where you don't have to get electrocuted.
right,
in
it was a
so.
long time coming, but the Reeves Civics really pushed for that. And Edwards Avenue, I have heard from some people, because there's a lot of construction going on right there, and there've been some concerns, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. right at the end, Edwards, there is a lot of construction there, and I think they were using a lot of the parking spots there, and I don't know if that weighed in a little bit to the, sort of the erosion and the runoff there.
It could have been, I mean, they just repaved it.
Right.
Internally, we
Good.
have a wonderful system here. I mean, between highway and especially buildings and grounds, to do the repairs and the patch-ups, they're just wonderful at it, and the repaving and everything. So we, like internally, we just have a great team here, you know, we're blessed with it from our department. And there's been some improvements to the parks, but we kind of call them Band-Aid improvements. They're small improvements here and there, and the parks do accumulate. They accumulate the age, and that's why we wanted to show you some of the pictures.
Thank you.
Hey, that's true. They let them in.
Speaking
And,
of
right,
engineering.
I just wanna mention, I'm not sure if you're aware, but you can check with Dawn, the cupola in Jamesport
Yes.
is gonna be resurfaced,
That is
repainted.
huge.
It's gonna be extended. I believe they're gonna put pavers for a location where people can gather. And, we're hoping to possibly check with, CDA, they did find the funds recently. And, we're hoping to start in the summer.
We do get a lot of phone calls on the cupola, believe it or not. They're very passionate down in
Yes.
Jamesport. That's something that I didn't think would ever get done.
It is gonna
and,
get done.
It's
We
great
did,
that it's getting done. It goes a long way with the residents down there.
Right, because there's someone that was willing to pay for it, but I think the issue from engineering had been that it was so fragile that they were afraid if they even got up there that it would crumble. That
Well, we
Yeah.
did find the funds through
Good.
granting and check with Dawn, she's excited about this, I'm excited about it, I'm sure the whole town board. It's a great location out there and it is, I have heard from a lot of the civic groups, and that's always been a concern, what do we do? Recently, during COVID, the flowers weren't being ordered, and I wanna thank the building department because we called them to task, so the flowers are being ordered by them, and we'll continue working to make that.
You don't
area-
believe how flowers go such a long way. When we
know.
don't have flowers up at Iron Pier Beach,
I know,
we should at a certain time. You know how many calls I get on that? It's amazing. I mean, it does beautify it,
You
but
don't need a lot, you know, you might choose nice, pot settings.
Something small,
sorting
yeah, that'll go.
flowers on each side and any entrance, so let's see where that goes. But I also wanna, mention to you, and I'm glad that you came before the town board, a resolution was recently passed where we took the community benefit money and we divided it across the community between fire, schools getting, I thought it was 150, it is 300,000, I checked last night. And there is something for parks.
oh, that's
Okay, so you
wonderful.
should be receiving, again, check with Dawn, she's keeping my books and all the projects. And, so the resolution was passed, and we may be getting the community benefit money within a couple of months.
That's great.
And
That's
time
great
for you
news.
for
Thank you.
springtime, and it's something that, I decided instead of just accepting it and figuring out where it's going and having people apply, we actually designated and the board supported me in this effort. So it's going to the schools, going to the fire department, including Flanders, for training, and it's going for Wi-Fi and for employment for the schools, and, that one, I'll get that to the
That's
superintendent,
great,
Tona.
thank you.
Yeah, so be aware that that's coming, and so some of these efforts.
Good,
that
that'll
you-
help with some of this report.
Yeah, seeing that, I said, okay, maybe we can do something with that, seeing the presentation, so definitely explore that, and that's very positive for the community.
Yeah, at the Jamesport Community Center, the woman that has stepped up a whole bunch of numerous times is Helen Durier.
Yes, she helped us
In her
paint it too.
90s, she had offered to pay for the painting of the cupola, and I think she did things with the flowers and the gazebo there.
Correct, yeah.
Just a shout
She's
out to
great.
her.
She's great. Yeah, it's great when the community steps up to help us out.
Okay, Catherine, do you have people on, Zoom? Ray?
Well, I wanted to go over
Ray's
the park
gonna do it.
improvement
Yeah.
report, just to
Okay.
you kinda saw the pictures of the parks when we go around. Now, this is the official report
Okay,
that we submit to you every year. I'll go over that, it won't take long. And then I just wanna go over something, that's going on across the country that I want to bring to Riverhead at some point. But if you start with the park improvement report, we, break down the parks by tiers. It's like by population, so tier 1 would be your larger parks, Veterans, Stotsky and Bayberry. Tier 2, you have, the second wave of parks, Two Bears, Nadell, Oakland Avenue Park, Horton. We put East Creek Marina in there, Grangeville, Millbrook Gables. Tier 3 and Tier 4, it just goes from that to the community pocket parks. So just kind of lay out how we break it down and look at it and look to see where the money should go. And then you have our facilities, the next page. We have the Henry Pfeiffer Community Center, the George Young Community Center, which we just discussed. We have our Parks Office, and we have the Senior Center. Those are our indoor facilities where we can hold programming. We have the 4 beaches, and then you can see how many waterfront accesses we have. It is, you come here in the summer, and Riverhead is absolutely gorgeous. You go down to some of those end of the blocks, some of these waterfront accesses, and you can see the sound, you can see the bay. It's just beautiful. So, 2021, the capital projects, this is what we are working on right this second. Once we get the go ahead to resume capital projects, then we're gonna go ahead and do this. This is the current cash amount we have in the park and rec fees, it's $121,000. And then these are the projects going back, that's just for accounting. The outstanding projects that we're looking to do in 2021, this was approved. A new water system for the dog parks, the resurfacing of the tennis courts, pickleball courts down at South James Fort Beach, resurfacing of the tennis courts and the pickleball courts at Stotsky Park. Installation, this is big, because installation of 2 pickleball courts with fencing and netting at Veterans Park, installation of pickleball courts at the lower portion of the skate park at Stotsky Park. The pickleball is the most popular sport, not only in the town, on Long Island, I'd probably even say the country. So some of that money went to, and I think it's gonna go a long way to install these pickleball courts. This money's been already approved, it's ready to go. These are additional capital projects we're looking to do in 2021. The new beach booths, which, thank you very much for approving, we're gonna be working on that. And the lights are desperately needed at our ball fields. This is part of the overall Calverton phase. The lights needed on the parking lot. We run the Veterans Complex, Veterans Park Complex, 4-diamond ball field complex. We don't have lights to it. Fortunately, we just ran out of money, but it was built for softball, and we can't play softball there because we can only play during the day, and then at night we have to shut it down. So it's.
And- Ray, I want to ask you, you don't hold games at night, correct? Because I understand if you had lighting that you can increase your rental.
Well, yeah, with double the rental, and then
Double the
tournaments too.
rental.
We have some tournaments that come in here that can't complete their tournaments
Those would be
because
great,
the time runs out, so, we lose some of that. We can get large tournaments in here. I'm gonna go over that, the sports tourism in a second, but we do
Okay.
have the demand.
There is-
Ashley
okay.
is in charge of our fields and renting them out, and we
Perfect,
could
good.
rent them every single weekend during the week. And then we'd like to run a men's league again like we used to here at Stotsky Park. Stotsky's too small now with the technology of the bats
Sure.
and the balls. That's one of the reasons we built Calverton. We'd love to get a men's league going there at night.
Perfect.
So just the rest of the stuff is other park projects. A lot of basketball courts are in poor shape now, we need to resurface them. That's over at Millbrook Gables. Horton just got a nice basketball court. It's very inexpensive to resurface those courts, and we'd like to do the same thing. We'd like to add a small playground to the picnic area of Stotsky Park. Then you see other park projects that we're gonna do in 2021. This doesn't cost that much, adding volleyball, grass area to Veterans Park. We need storage, adding a brick memorial. We're gonna do a brick memorial for Veterans Park where people can purchase bricks. We're gonna make this nice memorial area, similar to, I don't know if anybody's been to Diamond and Pines in Brookhaven, they have a nice Vietnam Veterans Memorial. We'd like to do the same thing at Veterans Park and have residents, non-residents to purchase bricks to dedicate towards their loved one, and we can help build the park with a nice brick
Ken,
area.
you're the liaison to the veterans, correct?
Yes, I am, yep.
Okay, so it'd be great to work with.
Yeah, we'll definitely work
Yeah,
together.
that
once
was
we-
our-
That's what I was just saying to Ken.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
think, well, I'm rec and he is the Veterans Committee, and I
And
think we
Tim's
could,
our liaison, so we got.
Yeah.
we could
so
work
it's great.
together on that. Yep.
Ready to go.
out of a project.
Frank's, you can put sod all around it.
I did have a question though about the Stotsky Park, all-purpose, that was the one that was redone years ago?
Correct, yeah.
And it's not holding up well, is that what I'm hearing?
No, well, the problem is it's so much use. That's the
Yeah.
only field we have here, and it
What
obviously
are the
gets
uses?
overused.
Is it football, soccer, lacrosse?
Yeah, everything on it.
Yeah.
But those main three sports. PIL uses it for football during the day. They can't use it at night,
And it is
obviously.
fenced?
Correct,
Okay.
correct, yeah.
It takes a while for after it rains.
Yeah.
It doesn't, the water doesn't.
And I remember when we did the project, there was a lot of drainage concerns and,
Correct.
issues.
Yeah, it's just, and I said this years ago, it was a beautiful turf field, with the sod, it came out beautiful. Just the problem is when you have just one field, those fields need rest.
Yeah,
Right.
You
no
know,
doubt about
and
it.
we're playing on it all day and 7 days a week in the summer. And so now, unfortunately, we have to shut it down till June so they can be fixed up again. And that's why we keep pushing for turf fields in the town. My requests are not easy, they're expensive, and so I can see why it's been delayed. It's very difficult to get that. If you go to the next page, I won't go over each one, but I'm not sure if you have a black and white version or the colored version. It's color-coded by need, so anything that's outlined in red, color-coded in red, is something that is,
We have the color version.
you do have the color-coded version? Okay. That's desperately needed, stuff that's breaking down. The lights, obviously, we always put at the top of the list for the ball fields and in the parking lot. Bathroom units. Veterans Park has the potential to be the Mecca complex of all of Long Island. And that's how we intended it to be a decade ago when we envisioned it. It's just unfortunate with the economy, we just ran into some tough times. But we still are vigilant about finishing it. It's eventually going to be equipped with tennis court, basketball courts, pickleball courts. And then on the other side, we're hoping to put in turf fields. And then something that actually is happening, and I spoke to the supervisor yesterday about this, the Peconic Hockey Foundation is moving forward with their ice hockey rink that they want to put in there. They're at the point where they're doing a site plan now. They just need permission to do that, and then it's slowly moving forward. We presented that to the board months ago, but you know, sometimes you feel with COVID and everything, the projects are going to die off like a lot of projects, but this is going strong, so this will be a great addition to the park. So if you continue on, I won't go over everyone with you, just so the board has it. You go through veterans, we started with the higher tier parks. What's in red is what's desperately needed. Stotsky Park is our flagship park, will always be our flagship park. We need several adjustments and improvements over there. The one thing I want to do at some point is add a spray park to Stotsky Park. On a certain area of the skate park, it's perfect for it. That's again down the road. I don't think I put that in red, but
And that's not very costly, and it involves our children.
yes.
You know, it's a
Yes.
sprinkler, it's hot, people wanna go outdoors, and they can go play into the sprinkler. I was a big proponent of that possibly for downtown, but it's good to know that you're considering it.
Yeah, we'd love to put it down there.
Perfect.
If you go to Stotsky Park at night, when the sun goes down, or any of our parks, you just see the amount of people that are there. It's just fun to watch, you know, it's such a beautiful park. So then as you go down the list, Bayberry Park, I think the biggest thing with Bayberry Park, and it's been going on for a while, is the parking lot is about to fall into, fall into the park itself, yeah.
Yeah. It's bad.
We constantly pave it, it's just a Band-Aid to it. Literally is eroding into the park slowly. At some point, it has to be addressed with a new drainage system. Like I said, the things I'm asking they're not cheap, you know, it's a very expensive item, so we'd have to pick and choose. That's why we highlight the ones we truly need in red.
Well, Bayberry, I know is an issue because, the drainage is an issue because it's so hilly. I mean.
Yeah, well, that's
even
creating
from
the hill, the parking lot is creating that hill.
Goes down into down into the park, just.
Yeah, no, it's a concern, it's definitely a concern. Then you just have minor things on the town of pocket parks, beaches, community centers. A lot of paving's needed at some of these locations, so that's a big concern. But if you go through the pages, you see ideas that we have, and then other things that we do need down the road.
I see a lot of signage necessary.
Correct.
Who do you outsource your signage to?
We just had a meeting yesterday with the purchasing department, Teresa. In the past, we've used Weedell signs. We're very happy with the Weedell
But
signs.
do you have to go to bid for that as well?
We have to,
Matt?
yeah, do the
Okay.
amount of signage that we want to put up.
Yep, okay.
We'd have to bid that out. So there are no those companies that have very inexpensive signs that are still durable. We used that for the COVID signs last year. But the town code has pivoted a little bit and changed, so we have to now address the parks where the rules have changed. So we have to add and replace the signage there.
So Ray, I know Highway makes makes a lot of signs for the
They-
roads.
they
so
make
can't
certain
do the
street signs.
Are they able to do any of the park
Not the
signs?
signs that we're looking for. We're looking at 2x3 park signs. We asked them to do like handicap parking signs or street signs, things like that we see. We've tried the highway department before, and it's not the best experience for us. Sorry, I don't think they're equipped to do that.
Yeah, they're just equipped to make metal signs.
Yeah, yeah.
They do
Yeah,
make,
not
they do save us
decorative,
money
wooden.
making a lot of our signs.
No, whatever we can squeeze out of them, we will.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And I'm really happy to hear about the ice rink proceeding. That's really great news.
I was, Troy Albert from Peconicocky sent me an email last week, and he says, we're ready for the site plan, and I was taken back. They're paying for all of it. I
And the
took a lot of,
best thing is that it's an all-year-round activity.
yeah, it'll be equipped
It's-
underneath with the pipage that'll keep the ice frozen
Yes.
all year long. So, and then they're gonna put a dome over it as well, so it'll be a great attraction. It's, like I said, once Veterans Park's built out, it's, with the trail, and if we get the turf fields in there, the lights at the ball fields, it's gonna be a destination place. We're a perfect destination spot on the east end. That's why I wanted to just, I'll quickly go over the sports tourism. This is a $3.2 billion industry all over the country.
Did we get a copy of this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the packet. It's in the,
It's the back of this one.
It just continues.
Okay.
They did a lot of work.
I told you, I have a good team here. What is happening all across the country, I do it now with my son with hockey, and Dawn Thomas is very big into this, she's mentioned this before, it's really what families are doing is they're going on vacation to sports tournaments, youth tournaments. Travel tournaments have exploded all over the country, and they spend all their money, all their vacation money going to these new complexes all over the country and playing these large tournaments. And that was one of the goals for Veterans Park, is to be that destination. So you could see just a quote from Bob, from a family of 3. After driving a day, we checked in at the Courtyard by Marriott at $150 a night, paid admission fee, bought a T-shirt, ate lunch and dinner, and $100 before heading back home. So Bob spent $800 in a certain town by using the hotels, by eating at the restaurants. And Bob is one of, you could get up to 60 to 80 teams from all over the country to come down here, and it would just explode the economy. Municipalities are actually building these facilities just for that. So the next page. Youth tourism was a $15.3 billion industry in 2017. It's a 55% growth. Youth sports tourism is the fastest growing segment in travel, 45+ million. Communities are supporting sport, health, and wellness. Visitors spend an average of $250 a day in the certain locations. 70% of the children 6 to 17 are playing team sports, and that is everywhere we go. I started a youth hockey team with my son, and we travel all over the Northeast now. The families we just introduced it to the families. They absolutely love it. We grew from 1 to 4 teams now, and we spend our money traveling. We actually have a budget and everything, and we go to the hotels. We eat at their restaurants. We buy tons of merchandise. The next page, 45% of children ages 6 to 12 play a team sport. The average family spends $670. Parents are spending $380 per child to play on this or a school team. Next page. trends and implications. Kids and parents are focused on year-round sports travel teams. It's no longer your school team anymore. It's year-long travel teams. Logic is that you play one sport, the better you get, college scholarships, and attain a return on investment. Families are spending free time on travel sports. They play better completion than local teams. Elite coaching, play many more games a year. Soccer and lacrosse, big growth travel sport. That's one of the reasons we want to get those turf fields here. Lacrosse is probably one of the biggest thing on Long Island, and soccer is right behind it, followed by girls fast pitch softball, and then men's softball. Sports vacations for families and now tournications, that's what they call it now. The next, I won't go over all this, but what I did is I wanted to bring in a model of municipalities with the same type of population as the town of Riverhead. So the first, I'll just go over the first one. Let me see where they are. Go to page where you see Mason Sports Park. The town of Riverhead's population as of 2020 was about 32 to 33,000. Mason Sports Park in Mason, Ohio, which they opened up a huge facility in 2014. Their population is 33,037. It's probably a little bit more, because that was from 2008. You can see they built the sports park, the next page. A $6 million investment, 5 baseball fields, 2 multi-purpose fields, restroom, concession building, shelter, playground and trails, disc golf. This is a similar acreage as the Veteran Sports Complex. You can see the next page. This is what they built out. So this is just the numbers. The next page is the numbers. Warren County, which is where the Mason is. 93 sports events a year, which is 65 are a youth sports event. Those 93 events produce $27 million in direct income to the Warren County, $38 million in total economic impact. Mason Sports Park itself, next page. 4 tournaments, just 4 tournaments at Mason Sports Park generated $2.5 million in direct income, generated $3 million in total economic impact, produced 5,500 hotel room rentals, and they brought in about 9,500 people into the community. So I look at Riverhead and what we have to offer with the aquarium and downtown and the beaches. Just, it would be great to bring in something like that to the town. I'll go over a couple more slides. After this, the rest of the townships are similar. They have similar numbers. I think I outlined 3 that I found. One of the most popular baseball parks in the region. There's ample space, which actually we built Calverton, the Veterans Park, very wide for a reason to have ample space in the middle. Our goal is to eventually put a playground in the middle there, but we wanted to build something that was state-of-the-art. So ample space for spectators, do not interfere with the fans at adjoining fields. Restrooms, which is something we really need down at Veterans Park. We use porta potties now. Another strong point. Great fields, great maintenance. We have the teams here between our Parks Department with Jordan and Building the Grounds. To me, they are the best on the island. They really are. If you look at Statsky Park fields, they're gorgeous and they're well maintained, and that's what we're doing up at Calverton too. Other good facilities close by in the system allow tournaments using many, many more fields. So this Mason Sports goes to different towns because it's so big. They partner with different towns to run these events. So the rest of the bit, if you could just read over at your own time whenever you'd like to, but basically what I wanted to show you is what could happen down in Riverhead if we could build up these complexes.
And Ray, thank you. I could see you put a lot of work into this presentation.
Me and my team.
And there is a future for recreation. I see that we are moving forward in a lot of positive directions. I just want to ask a question, and we're talking about sports. Are we engaging our Riverhead School District with, if we move forward and as things develop?
We work with the school district very closely.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure and let them know as you progress, because they can create some of the program around this development.
Yeah.
So that would be great for planning purposes.
Yeah,
So-
we have Ashley's now good friends with the athletic director. She's in contact with him all year. We use the school facilities, obviously when there's no COVID, we use it for our programs. The school teams will use our facility as well. We'd love to bring the baseball team, the Riverhead High School baseball team into Calverton under lights. The same thing with the girls' fast pitch league under the lights. It would go a long way here. And one other thing that we have here in Veterans Park is the Riverhead Tomcats, semi-pro. One of the Tomcats actually hit the winning home run in this year's World Series. So you get some
What's his
tremendous athletes down there.
Who was it, Ray?
Oh, I forget his name now. He played on the Dodgers, but,
So just so the public understands, and I hosted one a few years ago, we have the Hamptons baseball league.
that's it,
And,
yeah.
yes, it's a Hamptons Baseball League, and students from all over the nation accept hosts, and you are there for the entire summer, and there's a whole league, the Tomcats is Riverhead, and each, Matatuck has their
Correct,
own
and the East End.
baseball team, Southampton has their own baseball team, and they're all the baseball teams, and they play competitive sports. These
It
are
is
co-
tremendous to
college
watch.
level,
Yep.
and we had the honor of hosting Greg Hammond. He was from Atlanta. He was a UPenn, was going to go to college in UPenn, and he joined the team. And it was a wonderful experience hosting a young child, actually a young man, and who's going to be off to college for the summer.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
we
You
went
hosted
to
a- you
every
hosted
single
a player.
community, and we got to meet the parents, and we got to socialize, and I'm hoping to do that with the Tomcats this year. I did look, this is about the time you register and you join the program, and unfortunately, the program is not available this year. But I'm confident next year, and I look forward to hosting one of the Tomcats.
Yeah, that's nice that you do that. She's correct. It's similar to the Cape Cod lead up on the east end, where, Riverhead residents house these baseball players, and it's great. It's great.
It's a
We actually give them beach passes to enjoy our beaches. One negative thing about the Tomcats is they play at 5:30, at 6 o'clock at night. Nobody comes to see them because of that time. But our goal is to get them to play under the lights at night, and you track probably thousands here to come watch.
And at every event, you usually have someone who donates a meal to them, whether it's a local restaurant, and Hampton Jitney actually
Yep,
buses
they're involved.
all these students. And it's interesting to see all these baseball players coming out of the Jitney, and they're going to Shelter Island, or they're in Riverhead. And so the whole community comes in, and it's everything is donated. The time, the bus service, the transportation, the food.
Yep.
At one time, the mayor of, Mark Epley of Southampton, at one of the games, when I was hosting, he donated the dinner, Fellingham's in Southampton, and I believe Diggers was involved at one point, and it's a great community, and actually made a lot of friends across the whole East End, and the parents enjoyed it. We try not to miss a game.
It's great baseball. It
Yeah,
really
it's
is. And you
great
get a lot of
competitive
the Tomcats moved on to the professional ranks. So.
Yes.
And to have them on our field is tremendous. So.
Ray, did you have more, because I know.
No, we can bring them in now. Yeah.
Yeah, we have, there's a couple of members here from the rec advisory that have been waiting a very long time. Apologies. Hopefully you were able to work while you were waiting. Brian Mills is here, and Justin Winter, and I don't know if there's
That's Drew's
That's
office
Drew?
up there.
That's the
Drew's-
window.
That's Drew's bookshelf. So you were good, Ray, and I think these guys also wanted to chime in with some of the stuff that
Yeah,
we
no,
talked
take it
about.
away.
Absolutely.
Actually, you know what, if there's something I could add to that, in my office, was a coach for Tomcats.
Actually,
And,
you want to mute Justin first, then we'll go to him? Maybe we'll start with Brian?
Yeah, I think it's picking up his
Justin,
Yeah,
we're gonna go to Brian first, then you, because there's feedback.
Can you guys hear me okay?
You're a little quiet, maybe a little louder?
Get closer to your mic.
How's that, a little better?
Better,
That's better.
yes,
Is that good?
yes.
Okay. Actually, you know what, if I could just add a quick story. One of my the guy in the office right next to me used to be a coach for the Tomcats.
Oh, great.
Told some great stories because there are a lot of people that have come out of that league and have gone on to the majors. So, all right, just a couple of things. I want to thank Catherine for getting us on the agenda here because I'm not sure, Yvette, how much you know about what we do or how it works, and I know we all kind of got a little bit derailed last year with the virus situation. So. We do meet every month, and our job is really to come up with some recommendations as to park improvements and upgrades that the town can embark on. But as always, and I've been on this board now for about the better part of 11 years, and we consistently have issues with money. And I know that we're not the only committee that has this issue. We really wanted to bring this to your attention, all right? Because like you just heard Ray say, there are a number of parks that are in dire need. And we're really missing out on the opportunity available by not having lights out there at Veterans Memorial Park. And it's really becoming an issue. And I think Ray has a presentation that he can do for you that would kind of show you the advantages of actually putting lights on those fields and really upgrading our park system. I guess the best way to compare it is almost if like you bought a home, but you never actually fixed up your home after 30 years. Something that we consistently kick around at our meetings, and we really would like to see the town board take a very serious look at, is the opportunity available right now through putting together some kind of a bond. Interest rates, as you guys know, are at 10-year lows. The 10-year treasury as of now is at like 1.4. The opportunity is not going to get any better than this. I know you guys know that. And I think about 10 years ago or 9 years ago, Ray had told us that the town actually had a line of credit available to them to do upgrades. And whatever reason, that line of credit ended up expiring. So we've been locked out of that now. So the only way that we get money is through a tax or a fee on the sale of new homes. There are not enough new homes that can be sold that can put enough money into these coffers to do the kinds of projects that we're talking about, to put lights on these fields, to put in a turf field. And kind of what we're doing is kicking the can down the road. Like, yeah, it would probably be cheaper to put grass on that field at Stotsky, I think the all-purpose field, but we're going to be back in this position in a couple of years, and then we're going to have to spend the money all over again. So if we come up with a way to maybe bond and get get a lot of real cash into our account, maybe we can start looking at doing some real projects that eventually will pay for themselves. I mean, if the Tomcats could play at night, I can tell you personally, I live very close to that park. I go over there with my son and a bunch of friends. But we can't do that because they shut the thing down after 7 o'clock or whatever it happens to be. So there are a lot of things and a lot of priorities that we've submitted over the years that we just don't have the money in which to do it with. And we really would like to see a serious look at possibly putting together a bond. And we've talked about this over 10 years. I know Ray has brought it to you guys before, but I really just kind of feel like it's died on the vine. And like I said, we just can't, our hands are really tied, and we really can't do any of these upgrades without a big infusion of capital. And the community benefit money is great, but again, it's not enough. The matching grants, again, you gotta have money in order to get the matching grants. We don't have the money, so we don't get the matching grant. And other townships around the island, as you can see, have done a really good job with these parks through the use of a bond. So that's kind of where we stand. The committee talks about it consistently. Catherine can attest to that. And that's kind of my position there. Justin, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I think you did a beautiful job on saying what we needed to get done. So basically, I'm just here to support what you were saying.
I appreciate it. All right.
Okay,
Catherine, is there
so-
anything that you want to add to that?
Anyone else?
A couple things. First of all, I don't know that I said, but Brian is the chair of the Recreation Advisory, and Justin is a member. We also have Jeremy Savio, who recently joined our group, which is very helpful because he runs Riverhead Little League. The reason we even started having these conversations was because I came to the committee and said, we do have community benefit money. And, you know, what I've been told by legal is with the community benefit money, because it's shared by lots of different groups, you know, for us on rec, we need to be ready to go. When the money comes available, we need to be ready to go with a project. And so that's where we started prioritizing, and of course, it continually comes up. The idea of lights out on the Veterans Park field, you know, everyone has felt for many years that would be a boost to the town economy. It's actually a perfect location for facilities like that because it's right off the expressway, there's lots of space, and yes, it would be a great thing. And so we did start with the community benefit discussion and then possible grants, and that, you know, that gets us along. You know, Brian, I think, is in a financial field, so he brought up about bonds. You know, I certainly support the lights out there, you know, it's a good points, but also because we do have to weigh it all out. And I think we have to have the discussion and be prudent. We'd want to talk to, Bill is here, which is helpful. Bill's hearing the discussion because we also have the town square and need to figure out things about justice court. So, you know, with families just coming out of COVID, I do always think we have to be wise economically and prudent. And so I want Bill to look at that. Brian brings up good points, and, you know, I think it's something we should look at. I don't know what anyone else on the board thinks about it.
Okay, so, you bring up some good points. You are the liaison to the rec department, and you asked.
I'm rec advisory. Kim is actually rec department.
I'm rec department.
Yeah, advisory, so you do meet with them, and again, you can have a discussion with the board, any members at any time, and, that's something that, there's a request made, he will look at it, and, thank you for presenting today, sharing with us, where you stand, and, this has to be a town board, effort. Any effort that takes place, it's, the entire town board. There's 5 of us, and one individual cannot just promote, an effort on their own. And any decision that's made is made together cohesively, and they will look at the finances. It's the first time you actually ever got assigned a community benefit. It went specifically to you, and that was the purpose, so you can apply for it. And we'll see where we stand financially, and it's gonna be looked at. And again, thank you, have a good day, and thank you for presenting.
Well, and I agree that, you know, of course, we're a board of 5 and we want to discuss everything. And obviously, what I'm saying is we need to look at it financially because these are challenging times. So I'm in agreement with that. A couple things I wanted to check. Ray, there was wiring there, right? There was wiring.
Yeah, we
I'm
had
told
them, the
Bruce here
conduits.
too. There was wiring there.
We had the conduits for lighting put in there when the
But then
complex
is there
was
some
built.
kind of issue with them after or something? I thought I heard there were some.
Unless Drew has something that I don't know.
Drew, the wiring is actually still there, or?
You have to unmute on the left side, the red mic, touch it.
Hey, Catherine, are we?
There you are, you have it. Go ahead, Drew.
Okay.
Good morning.
So there is conduit and wiring in place. We do know that there are breaks in it. So that's gotta be, the breaks have to be found and repaired, but overall, yes, there is, sources of power for the lighting. One other thing that I just wanted to bring up, if we do go ahead with the bonding and address these improvements to the park, just the annual improvements that we typically bring up and give to Ray, and Ray uses them in his presentations, is about $10 million. And we'll need at least 4 people in building and grounds to maintain those parks, so that should be part of the discussion, when we talk about bonding.
And thank you for bringing that part up, because you have to also maintain your infrastructure. So it's not easily that you just install the lights, you have to pay for the lights on a monthly basis, and you have to expand, so, yes, and that is a consideration, and I'm sure our financial advisor will look at it, and the board has to come together, and they have to speak further in this
Right.
regard.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
was
that's what has
just
to be
thinking
done.
about
I
the
think
light.
our financial person has to sit and look at it and present it to us, and because we do have other big things going on as well, but, at some, you know, hopefully at some point this can happen because it would help the town economically.
That's it? Anyone else?
Is Brian still
That's
there?
good?
I can't imagine anything else needs to be said on this.
Yeah, I think you're right. Including talking about the wires.
Well, that matters.
Well, thank you very
Okay,
much
so we're
for,
gonna move forward from rec, okay?
Thanks,
Thank you,
Ray,
Keep
and
up the
team.
good work that you guys are doing.
thank you very much for allowing us the
Thank
time.
you, Justin
Thank
and
you.
Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna move on forward with, Frank Bayrod will be presenting on, Belltown Heritage Area. Very, very exciting, and thank you for working on this, and the floor is yours, Frank.
Okay. I just want to bring before the board, as liaison to the Landmarks Preservation Committee, that they have been working on getting a heritage designation over in Aquabog. And I'm just going to read a little bit from, proposed resolution, because there's some really rich history that has, that I've never known about, but really needs to be highlighted. So the landmarks, let me put my glasses on, excuse me. The Landmarks Committee is proposing to call Belltown Heritage Area. It's in Aquabog. Like I said, it was settled many years ago, I believe in the 1930s, by four brothers, Mansfield, Condroy, Ezekiel, and Melchiah Bell, sons of self-taught free black farmers and grandsons of slaves originally hailing from Powhatan County, Virginia. They migrated from the south to the north for better lives, and it was part of what history calls the Great Migration, or the Black Migration, which was a movement of 6 million African Americans out of rural southern United States to the northeast and the Midwest. And that occurred roughly between 1916 and 1970. These brothers worked on as farm laborers and baymen when they got here, and thereafter acquired 16 acres on property near the southern end of Downs Family Farm in Aquabog that laid out Bell Avenue, Hobson Drive, and Zion Street, and created 32 residential lots that they sold to family and friends who also moved north from Virginia. Over the years, it has become known as Belltown, and the committee is recommending that it have a heritage designation. It's a designation that's used by the state and neighboring towns it's an honorary title bestowed in recognition of special character and cherish the rich historic heritage of the area and the community. So this proposed legislation would be by the town board, and it would say, we hereby support the recommendation, and the Bells family, we recognize the Bells family's contribution to our history and our town, and the area would be properties north of Hubbard Avenue, between Bell Avenue and Zion, and it would be called the Belltown Heritage Area. So I was fascinated by the history, but not surprised. We have such a rich African-American community here. In our last meeting, we had Marilyn Banks Winter, who personally has family members from that area.
Yeah.
And if you hear some of the names, Hobson and others, these are people that are in our community and, making a difference every day. So I think this is a really wonderful resolution, and I'm glad you guys had a chance to listen to it, and hopefully we can get it passed on Tuesday.
And Officer Hobson is a descendant works for the police department.
Yes, yeah.
Police Officer Hobson, she sits out here at the
Sitting
front
a
desk.
few feet away.
So, yeah, she's actually, you're right, sitting, 50 feet away, and I think it was great that you guys took this initiative.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the entire Landmarks Committee, and like I said, Marilyn Banks Winters, and Richard Wines, who's the
Does
leader.
Marilyn know about this?
Yeah, Marilyn's been
Yes.
talking about it a
Yes,
while.
Okay,
she was
so-
on the last meeting.
Okay,
And
great.
now that it gets passed through us and get on, into Minitrack, we will let her know, and maybe she could even zoom in to, you know,
Okay, so
Give us some
we
input.
can agree to move this forward?
Yeah, this is right down the road from where I was born and raised and still live today. Rode the school bus with Otis Bell and Lenora Bell, went to school with them, they were in my grades.
Kenny Bell.
Kenny Bell was probably a couple of years older
Don't
than me.
say older.
Same family though. And Reverend Cooper and her family
Yes.
grew up there and have long-standing ties to that area. So it's when I read the history this morning, it's the first I learned about it. And it is amazing. It really is amazing. And I think this is an excellent idea to mark that as a heritage area and explain what it is so people know. I mean, this is part of our history. This is what made up our town back in the day. So for us to still be there and for relatives to still be around, kind of with me with Hubbard Avenue, it's kind of the same thing. But it's very interesting to learn the history, and Richard Wines is on top of his game when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to have Richard and our town historian. She is awesome.
Georgette does a wonderful
Oh,
job.
Georgette is incredible. So anybody in the public who wants to find more information out, if you can't get a hold of Richard Wines, he'd be more than happy to help you. I'm sorry I'm selling you space, Richard, but the town historian has volumes and volumes of history. And it's something that's not really taken a big advantage of in this town, of people that want to know what's going on. And they should. They really should know more about their town and what's going on. And those are two great sources. So I'm 1,000% in favor of this.
So
And,
all great, sorry,
wait,
all
so-
great points, Tim. I love even that you talked about the history around there. I'm really pleased that Landmarks is working on this. Thank you, Frank. I know that Marilyn's been working on this for a couple of years, because we had also been working with the Suffolk Victoria, the Suffolk Historical Society on this, so I think this is wonderful for Riverhead. Should have happened a long time ago, and it's great that we're getting it done. Thank you to everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Yes, and Reverend Cooper is on our Riverhead Leap program, the reform bill, and she's doing an amazing job. And I've recently visited the historian. I spent quite a few hours there, and I was enriched. I can't wait to go back. They're open on Wednesdays. I believe it's, go on the website, I believe it's like 9 to 12. And she's available. She's excited to see people. And right now they're indexing a lot of records. They're hoping to index about 5,000 records by the end of the year. It's been a long task. It's been a slow process because it was her, but now she has some help. And so the information could be easily, once she gets over, she completes the indexing, you can easily access whatever information you want. So again, thank you, Frank. This was great, and thank you, Richard Wines.
And if I could just highlight that it also comes at the end of Black History Month.
That's right.
As we culminate this month of Black History.
Okay.
So this is also a significance, and I thank Anne Marie for,
When we create a designation, is there a place or signage or something to tell the story, like, so that?
Yes.
That people visiting or would
that's
know
what
the
this
history?
resolution would do. It would give it the designation, and then we could go forward with signage.
Excellent.
Just as we're doing on Monday for COVID victims and survivors. So this is an official legislation. It's legislation to make this happen in the town of Riverhead.
Wonderful.
Similar to the state highway system recognizing where the Big Duck was up on West Main Street.
Yes,
that's
When they
right.
put the sign up, and that's, there's so much history there. We need to do more of this. We
Well,
really do,
I
in
have
this town.
I have a sore spot because for the many years that I lived in Hampton Bays, the duck was in Riverhead, and Southampton picked it up, now I'm in Riverhead and I want it back, and it's
Yeah, I
been a
wouldn't mind
big
getting it back
battle
up
there. By the way-
between me and Jay Schneiderman
That
and,
might be what the cardboard boat race could be about.
yeah,
Instead
oh,
of the
no,
boat.
it is, this is
Let's
a
go for the
Yeah.
big duck.
That is such a great idea.
I like that.
We want
I
the
not
duck
only do I
back.
want the big duck back, while we're at it, let's get the carousel back.
Yeah,
Oh,
and.
yeah.
Jay Schneiderman did give me visitation rights. So, so I have visitation rights. So, all right, so moving forward.
Awesome.
All right, I think our last matter, oh no, we did finish our.
Resolutions.
I think we
our
gotta
last
do
ma- no,
the,
our last discussion
PSEG.
matter. Okay, and then now we are going to move on to,
Oh, wait,
resolutions.
Now we gotta do
And,
the
Devin, can you
PSEG
please
canopy
come
project,
forward?
right?
Supervisor, we just have one more item. We just went a little bit out of sequence, so
Oh.
we did the Belltown Heritage Area. We're just gonna, I think, jump
Oh,
back
the
to,
PSEG,
right.
got it, thank you,
Okay, what time is the pizza getting here?
I know. Thank you. So we have, building and planning, matters surrounding PSEG canopy project, chapter 229. So Greg, good morning.
Good morning. I'll keep this one very quick.
Is
This
this
is
resolution up in the, online? Oh, well, we have it in the packet, so.
I did put it as a draft in. I did miss
Okay,
the deadline, but I'm here to just discuss the details of the
Sure.
resolution and, ask the board if they have any questions. So the planning board did recently review a site plan application submitted by National Grid to construct approximately 26,000 square feet of steel canopies over a portion of their parking area. That property is located at 117 Doctor's Path in Riverhead. The purpose of these canopies are to keep their vehicle fleets underneath during storm, to have them more ready for storm preparation so that they don't have to brush off, feet of snow, which I'm sure they would have loved to have these a few weeks ago, but we're here now. So the planning board did approve the resolution last Thursday. That was planning board resolution number 2021-16. They approved the project, but the project will require the exportation of approximately 190 cubic yards of earthen material, and that's going to be removed to install the subsurface stormwater management systems. They do have to reconfigure some of those systems within their parking lot. So really what I distributed to you is a resolution to grant that Chapter 229 excavation and exportation permit for PSEG. As I said, it's approximately 190 cubic yards. You're probably talking about a total of 12 to 15 trucks worth of material. They have consulted with an environmental engineering company. That material will be screened, it will be tested for any harmful materials, and it will be processed at this company's facility, which is a licensed DEC environmental site.
And then where does it go from there?
Wherever they're gonna do with it, it could be used for fill in other places, could be used for other purposes.
They're going to sell it at that point?
Whatever they do with that, I mean, I'm not really sure. Once it's processed and once it's taken off of our site.
Right, because that brings a lot of money, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why they do pay the $2 per cubic yard removal fee. So there would be a fee of $380 for this exportation, plus the $100 permit fee.
Greg, I know on our larger sites, we sometimes have a monitor there to make sure that that's what they do take. This isn't as big a project, but would there be somebody there, does somebody inspect it before and then after to make sure that's what it was that was removed?
So we did receive a signed engineering report from the professional engineer, which stated that amount of material. Typically, like you said, depending on the scope of the project,
Right.
if we were talking about something where there was going to be hundreds of trucks of material, or where we're talking thousands of cubic yards, but for a project of this scope, which is really just limited for the installation of stormwater management systems,
Right.
if the board finds that appropriate, I could amend the resolution to include some sort of language regarding monitoring. But for a project on this scale, didn't really feel it was.
Understood.
Yeah, we've talked about that at other sites in the
Yeah.
past, yeah.
Um,
Just curious, I just at some point would be curious as to the comparison of what we are getting and what it actually gets in the end.
I think that that exportation code was really to kind of regulate sand mining.
Right.
I don't know that they're gonna be getting a windfall from a
Okay.
190 cubic yards of material.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
like you
Greg.
said, it's maybe a dozen 10-wheelers, and they're gonna restore the topsoil back afterwards, after they export it, of course.
But yeah, they're gonna excavate the material, put
Yep.
the drainage rings in, and then, you know,
Put the
cover,
topsoil
pave
back.
over, and then put these
It's a
canopies under
pretty
there.
routine
Yeah,
process.
Thank you for telling us about it.
no, you're welcome.
You know that, you would know that. Thank you so much, Greg, and you have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Greg.
Thanks.
Okay, here we are. We're gonna move on to resolutions, and Devin, can you please read the resolutions for today? Good
Sure.
morning.
Everybody ready?
If we
Yes.
are.
Okay.
Okay.
Resolution number 1, publish and post bid for disposal and recycling of municipal solid waste. Number 2, ratifies the acceptance of the resignation of Town Assessor Mason Haas and acknowledges his service to the town of Riverhead.
We'll be having lots more discussions on that.
Yes.
But we do wish Mason well.
Resolution,
Mason, you served the town of Riverhead well. You were an accomplished assessor. You have a great reputation here. We're gonna miss your knowledge, and we wish you luck in Florida.
Resolution number 3, amends resolution number 2021-11. Resolution number 4, amends resolution 2021-6. Number 5, circulates request for lead agency pursuant to SECRA for the Town of Riverhead Pattern Book.
Glad to be continuing moving forward with this.
Right, next
Thank you,
step in the
Jack.
process. Number 6, ratifies the reappointment of member to the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee, Matt Schmidt.
Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Reappoint.
Oh, reappointment?
These
Yes,
are all
that's right.
reappointments. This is a great
Yeah,
group.
there's 5 of them?
Yeah.
How many are there? Just wanna double check, cause I know we still have,
6.
there's 6 today, but we have to make about 4 more, correct, Devin?
I'm not certain, we'd have to double check that.
Yeah, we have them, so they weren't included here? Okay, we wanna finish this up hopefully by, the next town board meeting.
Oh, this is you. Yours.
Okay, number 7, ratifies the reappointment of member to the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee, Jeff Rotkamp.
Yes, integral member.
Number 8, ratifies the reappointment of member to the Town of Riverhead, to the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee, Richard O'Day. Number 9, ratifies the reappointment of member to the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee, Charlie Shear.
Okay,
Number 10, ratifies the reappointment of member to the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee, Richard Wines. And number 11, ratifies the reappointment of member to the Riverhead Farmland Preservation Committee, Rodney Anderson.
Yeah, I'd just like to say collectively, really,
Good.
great group of people here, so much knowledge, so much history, and each one of them brings a whole lot of experience, and I think this will be a great, this is great that we're reappointing them.
It's a great group.
yes,
Jeff Rotkamp is my neighbor.
and thank you for your service, this is volunteer work.
Much agreed.
Yes, volunteer work that, and we recognize you for doing so, and especially Richard Wines. I have never met such an enthusiastic, motivated person towards his effort.
Number 12, acceptance of donation from Cases Creek Nursery and Masonry.
And this is for the COVID-19 memorial on Monday at 11 o'clock.
Right. Number 13, acceptance of donation from Rothwell Monuments.
Big thank you to the Rothwell family.
Thank you, yes, for taking this effort on and moving. Within 3 days, we had everything in place, and we were even able to get the hospital to join us, and thank you.
Number 14, ratifies town designation of the first Monday in March as COVID-19 Victims and Survivors Memorial Day. Number 15, extends contract with PW Grosser Consulting, Inc. for Youngs Avenue landfill post-closure maintenance and monitoring.
I just have one question of this. Oh, I was gonna ask legal, but I don't know, or maybe Bob stepped out of the room a minute.
Bill, can you see if you can grab Bob? He might be in the hallway. Thank you. This is a,
Back to it?
we can come back to it. It's a
Okay.
required, it's a New York State DEC requirement.
Yeah, I just have a question about this firm. When Bob comes back in, I'll ask my question.
Number 16, authorizes Larry Levi, DBA Onsite Productions, to provide additional audiovisual production services for the Board of Assessment Review hearing on May 18th, 2021. Number 17, authorizes one-year renewal of agreement with Property Registrations Champions DBA Pro Champs.
And this is a great resolution. It's a computer program that helps monitor properties that are in default. And if they become blighted, they get identified, the town is notified, and there's no cost to us, and I'm glad we're pursuing this.
Number 18, ratifies the approval of a military leave of absence for a police officer.
You safe?
Number 19, authorizes execution of water service agreement with Joseph S. Zaremba, Riverhead, New York. Number 20, authorizes the removal of fixed assets. Number 21, authorizes the removal of fixed assets. And number 22, authorizes the removal of fixed assets. Number 23, authorizes issuance of letter by the supervisor to Long Island Solar Generation LLC pursuant to Real Property Tax Law 487 of intention to enter into contract for payments in lieu of taxes.
I just have a couple questions here. Wondering, would this be you, Jeff, by the way? Is this Bob too?
I think it's
You're
Bob.
gonna have to
Bob,
wait
this
for
is
for
Bob.
council
Yeah.
to come here. This is a resolution that was created by council.
Well, I
So-
want to ask it today, so I just
Yep.
don't want, I'll
You-
wait.
down,
Yeah,
he'll
you
be
can
back.
ask it today, but you need to have council
Yeah,
on that. So,
And there he is.
And there he is.
okay, Bob.
Just in the nick of time.
Okay.
So
Well,
that-
right now, Bob, we're talking about the pilot payments for, Long Island Solar.
Yes, okay.
Just wondering, well, first of all, does the pilot include the value of the substation and not just the production facility?
My understanding is, because the substation's on the property, that it does. And, yeah, to my recollection, it would include the substation. I'll double check though, just to verify.
Right, can you let me know?
This is, this is just to authorize the issuance of a letter. This is not to actually enter into the pilot. Under 487 of the Real Property Tax Law, when an applicant informs the tax agencies that it intends to build a facility that qualifies under that section of law, they must give us notice. That triggers a response from the town, which is what this resolution is doing, which is telling them, namely Nextera, in their council, that it is our intention to enter into a pilot. They must also notify the school district. The school district has reached out. They've had some questions. And I have had some emails back and forth with Chris Venator, who's of Ingerman Smith. So there's some things that, we still need to work out logistically as far as the pilot. But this resolution is solely and only to authorize that letter to go back to start the 487.
And the letter is also about starting to accept the payments.
It's to say that we intend for them to enter into a pilot agreement.
Yeah, I just
That's all.
wanted to check only
Okay.
because it's in planning board too, and there's still
Right.
a lot going on with that, so I didn't know whether it was premature to start this until we're finished
We
with
have an
the
obligation
planning
under
board
the law
process.
No, we have an obligation by law to respond in a certain fashion. If we fail to, then the other provisions of the 487 take place, and we lose the opportunity to demand that they enter into a pilot.
Thank you,
So
Bob.
this is a time-sensitive issue.
All right, and
Okay.
you'll get back to me about the
Yes.
substation. All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
There are other things with this we're gonna have to address also, like you mentioned with the planning board, there are some issues that have come up that
That's
we
why I
need to
brought it up.
address. Yeah.
Okay, Resolution 24 ratifies the appointment of an interpreter for Police Department and Justice Court. And that concludes resolution, Supervisor.
All right.
That's it?
That's it?
Wow.
I think you, Catherine, you wanted to go
Well,
back with one
thank
for
you very
Bob?
much, Devin.
Question?
Oh, yeah, thank you, Ken.
Yeah.
I did have one other question, Bob.
Yeah, I understand that was on the landfill?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, P. Grosser,
Yes.
isn't he also working with CMA?
There's a request for an opinion from the ethics board as to whether they can continue. They have been historically doing our testing. So, as you know, under the closure of that landfill, we are required to provide reports to the DEC. Grosser has been our entity that's been doing that, and they've agreed to continue doing it, but there is an outstanding request to determine whether their work with CMA would in fact pose a conflict. So that's pending.
And that was my question, whether it posed a conflict.
Yep, yep. We're looking for an adjudication on that.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you. All right, moving forward, in a second, I will ask you to go into executive session regarding two areas: on personnel, matters surrounding the hiring of an employee, matters surrounding the hiring of an employee, and matters surrounding, again, 3 matters surrounding hiring of employees. And the second area is legal, matters surrounding pending litigation in the matter of Oak Hills Association versus Woodson. And the second legal matter is matters surrounding the possible acquisition of real property in a takings claim. And please, can I have a first and a second to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? So moved. And everyone, please be safe.